we Israel is putting out absolute propaganda. Netanyahu's virtual news briefing conference. The line that is coming out from Israel is, they are collapsing. Iran is collapsing. Their command system, their leadership and their command system is in chaos. They don't know who's in charge any longer. It's a complete chaos. They are breaking down. And, we have destroyed utterly their nuclear capability, Netanyahu said, and we've destroyed their capability of assembling and constructing new missiles. Hoping, I suppose, that people don't remember, he said exactly the same thing after the June war, that they destroyed both the ballistic missile capacity and the nuclear prospect. But it's quite clear the interest of Israel, at least the faction in circles around Netanyahu, because others in Israel are saying other things. But those that are in the Netanyahu circles are very clear that unless it can be presented as a great success, presented mainly for Trump's interest as a great success, that everything is going successful, then there is going to be a crisis in the United States for Israel and for Trump. So they have to keep the propaganda flowing full stake in order to say, no, everything is going perfectly. There's no problems at all. This is a great success. And of course, it's Trump's success. And he needs that because there's big divisions opening out within the Republicans and indeed within the Democrats. And it's turning to be something that can be an increasing danger to Trump, to the Republicans, indeed to the sort of, I believe, the political fabric of the United States, because people are getting more and more critical about, who actually took us into this war. What were their interests? What is this sort of barely visible command structure above the political level that takes us in? We don't know who leads it, what their interests are, but there nonetheless is this feeling in one section of the Republican, the MAGA side, that there is this invisible, if you like, superstructure that is, if you like, a control structure that stands above what they can see, what they can touch, and what they can understand. And they say we need to really understand what's going on, and of course, the resignation by the late head of the counter-terrorist department has exacerbated this.
You just heard Alastair Crooke, former British intelligence officer and Middle East expert, expose a shocking reality. Israel is pumping out absolute propaganda about Iran's collapse. And it's not subtle. Netanyahu claims Iran's command system is in chaos. They don't know who's in charge. We've utterly destroyed their nuclear capability and missile capacity. But here's what Crooke reveals. This is exactly what Netanyahu said after the June war, when he claimed Israel destroyed Iran's ballistic missiles and nuclear prospects. It was a lie then, and it's a lie now, because the real reason for this propaganda isn't about Iran. It's about Trump. Crooke drops the truth bomb. Netanyahu's faction knows one thing matters. This war must be presented as a great success. Why? Because if it isn't, there will be a crisis in the United States for Israel and for Trump. Think about that. The entire propaganda machine, the claims of Iranian collapse, the fake victories, the manufactured successes, they're not for the Iranian people. They're not even really for the Israeli people. They're for one audience, Donald Trump, because Trump needs this war to look like a win. He needs it to distract from growing divisions within both parties. He needs it to shore up his base. He needs it to survive politically. And Netanyahu knows it. Now consider what Crooke reveals about American politics. Big divisions are opening up within the Republicans and indeed within the Democrats. This war isn't uniting America. It's tearing the country apart because more Americans are asking dangerous questions. Who actually took us into this war? Or their interests? Who is really in control? Crooke describes a growing feeling among Americans. There's an invisible superstructure, a control structure that stands above what they can see, what they can touch, and what they can understand. This isn't conspiracy. This is reality. People are waking up to the fact that U.S. foreign policy isn't made by elected officials. It's made by forces they can't see, forces they can't name, forces they don't understand. Here's what makes this so dangerous. The propaganda isn't working like it used to. Americans are getting more and more critical. They're questioning the narrative. They're seeing through the lies. And this terrifies the establishment. Because as Crooke notes, people are saying, we need to really understand what's going on. This isn't just about Iran. This is about the very foundation of American democracy. When citizens realize their leaders aren't making decisions, but following orders from unseen powers, the system loses legitimacy. And that's exactly what's happening now. The political fabric of America is tearing, not because of left versus right, but because people are realizing they've been lied to, they've been manipulated, they've been used. Now, consider the smoking gun Crooke mentions. The resignation of the LA head of the counterterrorist department. This wasn't just some bureaucratic shuffle. This was a high-profile official walking away, publicly, from the war narrative. And it exacerbated the growing crisis of confidence. Because when experts who know the truth start resigning, when they refuse to be part of the lie, that's when a propaganda machine starts to crack. This is happening across America. Intelligence officials, military advisors, diplomats, they're seeing the emperor has no clothes, and they're refusing to play along. Let's connect the dots Crooke makes. Netanyahu needs Trump to stay in power. Trump needs this war to look like a victory. So Israel pumps out propaganda claiming Iran is collapsing. The media repeats it. The administration amplifies it. And the American people are supposed to believe Iran's command system is in chaos. Their leadership is gone. Their nuclear program is destroyed. Their missile capacity is gone. But none of this is true. It's the same script Netanyahu used after the June War. And it worked once. But Americans are smarter now. They remember the lies. They see the pattern. They're asking who's really in charge. Crooke exposes something deeper than propaganda. This war is exposing America's hidden power structure. Most Americans think their government makes decisions. But who really decides when to go to war? Who really sets foreign policy? Who really controls the military-industrial complex? Crooke describes it as an invisible control structure, something above what they can see, what they can touch, and what they can understand. This isn't paranoia. This is institutional reality. The military-industrial complex, the intelligence apparatus, the defense contractors, the financial interests. They form a power structure that operates outside democratic control. And now Americans are starting to see it. Here's the most dangerous part of Crooke's analysis. This isn't just about foreign policy. It's about the survival of American democracy. Because when citizens realize their votes don't matter, when they see the same lies repeated election after election, when they understand the system is rigged, what happens? The political fabric tears. And that's exactly what's happening now. Republicans are splitting. Democrats are fracturing. The public is losing faith. All because people are asking, who took us to war? Who benefits? Who's really in charge? These aren't partisan questions. They're existential ones. Crooke's analysis reveals a terrifying cycle. 1. Israel creates propaganda about Iranian collapse. 2. Trump uses it to claim victory. 3. The propaganda covers up political weakness. 4. Americans start seeing through the lies. 5. Trust in government collapses. 6. Political divisions deepen. 7. The cycle repeats with more extreme propaganda. This isn't sustainable because each time the propaganda fails, each time the lies are exposed, each time another official resigns, the system loses more legitimacy. And eventually, you reach a breaking point where the lies are too obvious, where the manipulation is too crude, where the people say, "We see you." In conclusion, Alastair Crooke gives us a rare and unfiltered look at the real forces shaping this crisis. Not Iranian weakness, not Israeli strength, but a desperate propaganda campaign to save Trump's political survival. A hidden power structure manipulating American democracy. A growing awareness among Americans that they've been lied to. This isn't just about Iran. This is about whether America can still call itself a democracy. Because when the people realize their government serves foreign interests, when they see leaders manufacturing consent through lies, when they understand their votes don't matter, what's left? Stay tuned for more analysis right here on The Informed Perspective. Until next time, stay informed and think critically.
But again, there's no imminent threat to the United States. And we, as I said at the top of the show, don't have clear-cut goals of our own. This is why President Trump is all over the map when he explains why we're doing this. It's the Israelis who are in the driver's seat. And the Israelis have made it unequivocally clear that their goal is regime change. And let me just say a bit more about this. People talk about eliminating the missiles, the ballistic missiles that the Iranians have. They talk about eliminating once and for all Iran's nuclear enrichment capability, and finally Iran's ability to support Hamas, Hezbollah, and the Houthis. But you can't do any of these things unless you have regime change. There has to be a story here that you change the regime, and that new regime then decides it's not going to build ballistic missiles, it's not going to support the Houthis and Hamas, etc., and it's not going to pursue nuclear enrichment. You have to get rid of the regime. The Israelis understand this, and you have to believe that, number one, you can get rid of the regime, and number two, that you can put a new regime in place that will decide to never go down the nuclear enrichment road, to never build ballistic missiles, and to never support the Houthis, Hamas, and Hezbollah. That's what you have to believe. So regime change has to be the goal here, because it's the only way of solving those other problems. If you go in and destroy the missiles, or you go in and eliminate the nuclear enrichment capability, they'll just rebuild those assets. So you have to get regime change, and you have to believe that the new regime will not be interested in all of those military options. That's the issue here. And I ask anybody who thinks this military operation is going to work, do you think you're going to get regime change? Is that going to be the end result? And if you do think we're going to get regime change, do you think that that new regime is going to not want missiles, nuclear enrichment, and not want to support the Houthis, Hamas, and Hezbollah? I find it impossible to come up with a plausible story that tells me how you get regime change and you get a new regime that has no interest in doing those three things.